Coach, I'll get us started and then we'll open it up for questions.
All right, a lot to talk about. Obviously, uh, signing day is a great day of celebration, and certainly want to spend time with that. Also excited too to have Tim back with us as a new offensive coordinator, and excited for what he brings, his experience, the success that they've had at New Mexico State. There's a lot to unpack there, so I'm excited to talk about that. Talk about the signees from today, and again, I think in what used to be a day of chaos has become really kind of a day of some calm waters amongst a bunch of chaos around it. And as we continue to build this roster out and build this team out, certainly we want to stay committed to developing high school players in our program, and we brought some good ones in today. That's an effort that there are a lot of people to show gratitude toward for that. Obviously, our recruiting office and their efforts in organizing our recruiting weekends and our path forward, our scouting office with respect to the evaluation of the talent and starting the process of finding players that can succeed at the SEC level out there. Obviously, our coaching staff who works hard to foster relationships and build authenticity into the process for us, and so many others who contribute to our efforts to have a day of celebration, which is what we're doing today. This is also marks kind of the end of the fall and winter for us, and a point at which we can turn the page and look forward to 2024. And so I'm excited to do that also. With that, I'm happy to open up for questions.
With Tim back, it seems like that kind of goes against previous hires that you've made in that he's older, and I'm not aware of you having known him before, or in the past you've hired people that your friends have recommended. So why did you go against those two trends?
Well, I don't want to offend Tim. I don't know that he's that old, Robbie, so we're going to let him keep his youth. I'm just kidding. He is old. No, to me it was a part of I think when you look at how we've evolved here, there's been a fight for retention of systems, and not to go too far into that, but I mean certainly I think that the first part in plotting a course forward is to say, hey, what were the decisions that got us to this point, and how were they effective in some ways, and how maybe in some ways were they ineffective. The goal is always to try to raise your program within the building. I mean, I do believe that. And I think in this day and age, I want coaches to move on, and I want them to have opportunities. I want to be fair to our players and try to keep language and systems as close to similar as possible. And that's all in an effort to compound learning, and it's a part of this developmental approach. But, I think within that too, I saw enough this fall to say that I needed to make a change that's maybe divergent from what we've done in our hiring processes in the past, where we've stayed more in-house or we've elevated from within. We needed to have some change, and that's not an effort to reset. It's in an effort to rebound and to get back on the rails of progress. As far as I spoke with, I know Aria, you were in the office, and we talked a little bit about kind of what were the things we're looking for. There were 6 measurements we were using to guide this search, and those are analytical in nature. But the first thing was an offense that can control the game. It's a formula, but that's first down efficiency, third down efficiency, that's finishing drives with touchdowns. That demonstrated expertise that way. I've talked a lot post-game about the need to shorten the game offensively, to play complementary football. We needed to see that in this hire. The second measure was red zone effectiveness, scoring points in the red zone. The third was establishing a run game. That's something we fell short on this year. I wanted to see demonstrated success running the ball. Off that, the fourth measure is an explosive passing game, and using the run action to set up shots down the field. We want to get the passing game going. We believe in our receiver skill. The fifth is we wanted to have a quarterback-friendly system. I thought at times in our the past couple seasons, that we've asked too much of that position. I think there's an in between where you're not quite counting on that position like it's a 10-year vet. Obviously it's evolved a little bit from what that position plays in high school, but there's a space in between where we can be complex and we can stretch them in terms of their abilities. But if you're not playing fast and decisive at that position, you're setting yourself up to get off schedule offensively. And ultimately, when you talk about getting the quarterback hit and getting the quarterback sacked, you're eliminating the ability to score points. And so for that position to play fast, play free, to be decisive and be direct, I think also wanting to create a situation where you can have a problem solver at that position too. How do we extend plays, convert on third down with our legs, and then also developing a run game around the quarterback that can keep a defense off balance, where they have to defend all 11 players on the field. And then finally, I was interested in looking at a demonstrated success with respect to playing error-free. So negative yardage plays, turnovers, and penalties. Wanted to find someone that had a history of limiting those things. I think with Tim and the success that Jerry's had at New Mexico State, I think what you look at is a group that's learned how to do a whole lot with what they have and find success in for that program and historic levels. That was really appealing to me too. I want to bring people into this program that see it for what is good in it, not for what has held us back in our past, but the things that define this as a unique situation and an opportunity for us to build something special. Tim is cut from that cloth, and he's hit the ground running in that respect. So I love his experience. I love the fact that he has head coaching experience. I think that I'm going to lean on him to be the head coach of the offense as I take on more responsibilities defensively. And ultimately, we found the guy that we need to lead that offense forward. And hopefully that answers the question.
The quarterbacks that you're signing today with Witt and Jeremy, they were obviously recruited under the previous offensive coordinator. So how do you see them fitting into Tim Beck's system and into the new, offense?
Well, I think they're going to fit in really well. I mean, I think what Tim has done in his career is, certainly build around aspects of that position. I don't know that it's any one skill set. He's coached guys that have thrown the ball well. He's coached guys that have run the ball well. Some of the run game is not necessarily just being able to pull the ball and outrun people. It's creating gap schemes and just to me, the offense is about staying on schedule. It's about 1st and 10 becoming 2nd and 6, becoming a convertible third down, and supporting that quarterback through an effective run game. And so both these guys, first of all, Jay and Witt both have athleticism, and they're both good in terms of moving the pocket and creating with their legs. They both can throw the ball. They're both great competitors, and I believe that they're both going to find success here in the new system.
Ranked recruits Vanderbilt has ever signed. It doesn't seem like you really looked around much this fall. How were you guys able to get him signed, and what is he potentially going to bring as a freshman?
Well, we've needed improved play, in the back end of our defense, and Dante's the guy that we think can come in and have an immediate impact. That way, he's going to have to earn it, and he knows that. Nothing will be given to him, but we believe in his abilities. I love his mentality. I think part of the last couple of years, and certainly this cycle, has been the moving on or the removal of certain aspects of the program so that we can move forward. We're shedding old skin, so to speak, and what he brings in with respect to his mindset, his mentality, his competitive nature, I think is going to build into the nucleus of this team, which we're here to win. It's what we're here to do. And obviously we're not happy with this season, but we're anxious to turn the page and to build again around that mindset of winning, a winning approach. Dante brings that. He's got spirit and energy. He's connected with our program authentically. Recruiting can be a crazy process, and I think there's a lot of hard selling that goes on out there. I think there's a lot of persuasive language, and what we try to do is be genuine to who we are, and to make it about the person first, to be authentic in what our plan is and what our vision is, both for the individual and for the program itself. And we try to connect at a level of depth with each player that we recruit, because inevitably for all these guys, there's going to be adversity. It's personal adversity or team adversity. We want to make sure they know that they're going to have a program that's going to challenge them but support them, and in those moments of adversity that we're going to be locked in arms and leaning on that relationship that we built at the start of the process. And Dante and his family have become a really close part of our family, and this is where he wants to play, and this is where he wants to win, and he's got a chip on his shoulder just like I do. And so it made sense, and I don't know that it was people are motivated by different things, but Dante's coming here to help us win and help this program get to where it can go.
How satisfied have you been with the quarterback recruiting and the transfer portal that you guys have done?
I've been pleased. I can't comment specifically, which I appreciate how you phrased the question. I think we're going to be in really good position that way, and I'd be remiss not to talk about Drew Dickey in that same sentence. Drew's a guy that I have so much respect for as a competitor, and as he was here, and not wavering on his commitment to what he wants to build here, and what he wants to be a part of, and the belief he has in what we're doing. We've shared a couple nice moments where he's said to me, "Coach, you bring in whoever you want, I'm going to beat them out." That's the mentality that you want within your team. And so, I'm excited for Drew to get connected with Tim and to start building his path forward in this program. I'm excited to bring along some others that will make that quarterback room ultra competitive, because we need for each position in this program to be fueled by competition. We don't want anyone entitled to anything. One of our covenants is earn it every day. We want that to define the process that that a player finds the field and finds their role. And so I'm excited about how we're building that room out, and what it'll look like in the spring and certainly in the fall too as we add our freshmen.
I know you've got particular metrics that you look for athletically at every position. How do these guys compare across the board to what you've signed in the past?
Well, I think with each year we come into a little more focus as to what it is. I think part of that is just our commitment deepens to what we know in terms of the culture add, the mentality of the player and his support system, and certainly the physical and athletic measures too. This group is long. I think we addressed skill positions on offense. We wanted to start the process of turning the receiver room over, and we did that in this class. Obviously, with the portal this winter, we've also had to go and recruit some guys to transfer in those roles too. But we're really excited about the skill we built at receiver. Obviously, the running back position we were able to add. We did that a year ago too. But when you look at the whole of this class, you see length and athleticism, and there is some underdeveloped frames where there's going to need time taken to build out and to physically equip. But we think there are a number of guys in this class that can have an immediate impact, and we believe strongly that a number of these guys are going to be developed to all SEC level players, and so it's exciting. And again, coming off a tough season, one of the things that's given me great energy is being out on the road the last few weeks and just being around these guys and being around their families, and just hearing them talk about the vision and hearing them inspired to be a part of it makes me really excited again about each cycle's a chance to move the program forward. And I feel like we did that both in mentality in this class, but also in the physical attributes too.
What's your vision Edwards as a player, and are his rodeo days done, or what's wrong with that?
I hope his rodeo days are done. I don't know. That's some maybe unnecessary risks to take on. Whit's, first of all, to know Whit, you have to know his family, and it's a support group unlike many that I've been around. I mean, I'm impressed with probably the most people I've ever been around on an in-home visit, and how supportive and how loving they are to Whit. He is a very talented player that really could play on either side of the ball. We've recruited him primarily to be a tight end. He's also needing to fill his frame out, and so I think there's a world where you could see the entry point for him on this team, in the tight end room, but certainly in more of a flex tight end or a kind of a receiving tight end role as he works to build that frame out. But whatever the case, he's a dynamic athlete that's long and competitive, and I'm excited to use his strengths and see where he lands for us in the fall, because I think that he could help us win games.
On the quarterback situation again, with neither of the incoming freshmen early enrolling, are you planning to have one or more transfers that are going to be here for spring ball?
We are, yes.
How many more spots for January do you have?
We are right up against the number, and so there's one or two, but it all comes down to the wire here for us.
Recruiting Whit Muschamp, how much was talking with his dad a part of that recruitment? Did you know Will previously?
No, obviously I have a ton of respect for Will. I admired him as I was coming up as a defensive coach, and respected his body of work, but never really had a chance to interact with him. I first had that opportunity when they came unofficially on a visit. I've met Whit's mom a few times. He's come to our camps and competed in camp. It's a great family, and I love recruiting coaches' kids because they understand the game at a level. They've lived the game out, and certainly Whit has done that with Will. I have built a friendship with Will, and have enjoyed that, and it's been a lot of fun to have him connected to our program. We had a blast with him when he was on the official visit, and it's a guy that again I have a ton of respect for, but certainly the way Whit plays the game, you can see that the imprint or the fingerprints that his dad has had on his competitive nature and his understanding of football, and that's exciting for us because that'll only develop as we move forward. And Whit's going to have a chip on his shoulder and want to beat his dad when the time comes, which I'm excited for too.
Anything else? Were you on a strength and conditioning coach?
We have a candidate that we've targeted, and we are in the processes of finalizing that, and I'm excited for it. And as soon as that gets finalized officially, I'll make sure that we get a release out and that I can talk more about it. That's an area of this program that needs to function at highest level, and I've got a candidate that's going to do that for us, and again, I'm fired up for it.
Was there, you mentioned throughout the season, like the injuries and the training methods, like looking at them, where they could improve. Is that strength and conditioning, or is that something else?
Well, I think to pin it on one area is probably a little careless. I think that we apply resources and support in a number of areas, whether that's nutrition, athletic training, certainly strength and conditioning, and it's the collaboration of those areas that, to me, ultimately delivers the players to a healthy experience, both physically healthy and mentally healthy. But yeah, we part of the evaluation is say where did we miss in the process leading into fall camp, and because it was within the first week of fall camp that we were experiencing these issues. And I think you can also apply some ownership within the way we we train with our coaching staff too. But part of addressing the strength and conditioning program is to address just the culture that's built or not built in that room, how that room galvanizes your team, and forms the spirit and the soul of your program. Part of it also is to address, how we train our team and prepare them for, fall camp and practice, but certainly for the length of the season. We need to be better that way.
What about Jamal Richardson? Encouraged you to promote him, and then you're going to need a safeties coach. Is that, since you're taking over defensive coordinator, do you want like kind of a veteran who can help you out there, or what's your thought process?
Yeah, the staff needs to kind of take form around the idea that I'm going to be wearing a couple of hats, and so we're going to take our time with that, or I should say the time we need to make sure that it feels right and it fits. As far as Jamal goes, I think one of the things I said early in my career, and I don't know where I heard this, and certainly it's not unique to me, but it's this idea that every day is an interview, and every day that you come to work, you're interviewing for the job that you want. And I've been super impressed with Jamal, just with respect to the boundaries he puts in place, the way he holds players accountable, the relationships, again, the genuine relationships he's built. I think you've seen that also apply in recruiting as well. He and Jimmy Thompson, who was out on the road for us too, just with staffing turnover, you have the opportunity to send some of your young staff out. They logged more flight miles in the last few weeks than I can even imagine. And I was with Jamal in San Antonio, and we were going to see the Carters, and I think he had just driven in the car with A.J. Blazik for 6 hours or something through the night, and he went to Houston, and again met me in San Antonio, and I asked him how he was doing. He said he was having the time of his life, and so a 6-hour ride with A.J. Blazik, and going from Houston to San Antonio, and just that constant grind of recruiting. He's got something special about him. He's a young coach that has shown signs of really being an effective communicator, a relationship builder, and a recruiter. And it's my responsibility now to help him grow into a great technician and tactician to help us win games.